everything bicycles. As I enter, bicycles are stacked all over the place, and I can smell the tires. Beautiful store here. It's just gorgeous. What's your name?
I'm Carter,
How old are you?
20 years old.
What are you doing? Where am I sitting right now?
So you're sitting in myself, my business partner, as well as another business partner's bicycle shop in Jenks, Oklahoma that we just purchased a few months ago.
Wow. I'm just amazed at, seeing youth running this. What got you into this?
Yeah, so when I was a couple of years ago, when I was younger, I was really struggling mentally with my mental health, and I pulled a bike out of the trash and I rode it down Route 66. And this was about the halfway point, and by the time I got here, my bike was in shambles. So a couple friendly people, one of the minority owners in this business actually picked me up and took me to the shop, got my bike fixed up here, and I went on to finish my trip, on the bike. So anyways, people were so incredibly nice here. The community was so strong that I moved back after my trip. And after living here for a few years and working in another bicycle shop, the opportunity to purchase this place came up. The same place that I stopped on my trip. So it was a pretty incredible opportunity, from my perspective.
So Route 66, that's the scenic route. What stands out for that trip for you, and how many miles did you cover?
Yeah, so I think it was like 3,200 miles or so, 3,300 miles. I think, there were a lot of beautiful, vistas and scenes, but I think the biggest thing was the people along the way, how generous people were, because I definitely needed help, no doubt. I had $400 in a bike, full out of the trash, basically, and people were incredibly generous, incredibly helpful, incredibly encouraging, and overall incredibly good, which is not necessarily the typical narrative you hear, when you're watching the news or, you're just kind of listening to casual banter. But the people along the way were left the biggest impact on me,
So one thing I'm hearing youth talk about is mental health. Is there anything you want to share that can build awareness and help the youth with mental health? Any ideas there?
Yeah, so I guess for me, fundamentally it's about mindfulness. And mindfulness, the best way I can describe it is not identifying with your mind, your body, your thoughts, right? It's almost like creating a little canyon between yourself, your true self, who you fundamentally are, which is consciousness, awareness, and the things that you're experiencing as a conscious, aware, entity. And so, for me, it all starts fundamentally with just creating the divide, not identifying with the way that I'm feeling, good or positive, good or bad. Not identifying the things that are happening to me, not personalizing them as much, right? And also, I'd say, once you've established that, a lot of it is just, a perfect example is this shop. When I first started my trip, it was a bike, out of the trash. It was doomed to fail from the beginning. That's what everybody told me, and I came here, right, made it 1,000 miles from home on a piece of crap, and I walked in that back door, and I had no idea what the future would bring, not a clue. I mean, if you had told me that I would be moving back here in 3 years, that I would, work at a bicycle shop, work in aerospace, and then come back and buy this place, right, and have ownership in it, I would have thought you were just full of shit. I mean, bluntly, sorry, I probably shouldn't swear, but I thought it's unthinkable. And so it's like you just can't call it. Don't define or limit what's possible based on what's happening right now in this moment, especially if it's less than optimal in your eyes. It's probably a launching pad or an opportunity, a stepping stone. It's not the end of the story. So So yeah, I'd say those are the two big things: mindfulness and not calling it too soon, especially when you're young.
Amazing story. I have to tell you that. What's
you.
next for you?
Making this place the best it can be. Building a community here. That's really big picture. Obviously this is a business that has bills. Payroll. Things need to get done. But the reason that I'm here is to create what changed my life, in a lot of ways, which was community, and strengthening and empowering that to the best of my abilities, and really making a rich and unique culture around bikes, so getting people outside, getting people together, and giving people a shared space to connect.
So as I'm traveling across the country and perhaps, probably the globe, I ask youth, what's your all-time favorite movie?
It's tough. Best movie. There's so many good ones. It's gotta be Glengarry Glen Ross. Yeah,
I've never heard of it, but now I'm going to add to my list.
Yeah, you got to add it. Yeah, it's about some desperate salesman. There's a lot about like human nature, and it's a play originally. A lot about human nature, and it's very interesting, So.
Awesome. And where do you like to go on vacations, or where's that one place you've never been to you would like to go to?
Man, one place. I would say probably the most beautiful place that I would desire to go to that I already know about is New Mexico, undoubtedly. Yeah. And then a place that I'd like to go, undoubtedly Europe. Probably France. Yeah, or Italy. Yeah.
Where do you think I am from, ethnically or country-wise?
I assume that, your English is very, very good, right? So I imagine you grew up in the States possibly, or at least an English-speaking country. If I had to guess, this is tough. Sri Lankan maybe?
Like twins and all that sort of stuff. So in order for it to show.